Hey guys, welcome back in. Tim Knox here on the Entrepreneur Code videocast. This is the show where you ask the question and I provide the answers. Now, typically you're asking the question because you're too damn lazy to go find it on your own, and that's okay. I understand you're busy, probably a lot busier than me, but hey, that's okay. So today we are looking at a question from, and I'm looking at my notes here because the old brain's not what it used to be. This one's coming from a lady named Mona in Mobile. Mona in Mobile. Tim, I have a great idea for a small business idea. Unfortunately, I do not have a lot of money. How can I raise money for my idea? Well, Mona, congratulations on having an idea. A lot of people don't. But the question you ask is typically the one I hear most. Hey, I've come up with a great idea. How do I fund that sucker? And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately in some cases, a lack of funding is the great killer of business ideas, because just because you have the idea doesn't mean you're going to be able to execute it, typically because you don't have the money. More typically is that people underestimate the amount of money they need and they overestimate the number of customers they're going to have coming in the door. I've been consulting with clients for over a decade now, and that's the one thing I hear. The customers are going to fund it. If I can just get the doors open, there'll be business just lined up, customers out the door waiting to give me money. I hate to break your heart there, Bucky, but that's not the way it works. So the first thing you need to think about, Mona, and anyone else with this question is, how much money do you really need? It's going to be my guess that you have no idea the true amount of money you're going to need. You've probably come up with a guesstimate. You've what we call in the business the Shrek method. You've pulled it out of your ear and molded it into an opinion that is based on nothing. So before you start worrying about how to raise money or how to find money, you've got to know exactly how much money do you need. Sit down and list out every expenditure, everything it's going to cost you to get this business going, whether it's equipment or getting a location and building the location out, and insurance and inventory and employees. The list goes on and on and on. You've got to come up with every item you can think of that's going to cost you money to get the business off the ground, because you've got to then give every item a dollar amount. Now, this is where I see a lot of weeding out. And by that, I mean, I have people who I coach who come to me with this question, but then they're not willing to put in the homework to come up with the answer. If you can't sit down and tell me exactly how much money you've estimated that you're going to need and show me facts and figures to back that up, you're really not ready to start a business, much less look at raising money. So Mona, the first question is, how much money do you really need? And the only way to come up with that number, again, is to write down, open up an Excel file and list every item you can think of that you're going to need to start that business and give it a dollar amount. Now, if you're starting a service business where it's just you and maybe a power washer, your startup costs are going to be a lot lower than someone who starts a retail store. And I've started retail stores. Let me tell you, suckers are expensive. Costs a lot to get into retail. And inevitably, Mona, you're going to forget something. I actually forgot to order the sign for one of my stores once. We were 2 weeks from opening. I'm walking in and I'm like, something is missing. I forgot to order the sign, which was a $5,000 mistake, Mona, because then I had to get them to rush it through. So come up with the amount of money that your best guesstimate based on solid research and real numbers. Then you know how much money you've got to come up with. Now, more to Mona's question, how do you find that money? Well, the most common way is to look in your own bank account. How much money do you have that you can invest in a business, either in your checking, your savings, your 401k, your retirement plan? I've had entrepreneurs, again, come to me, I've got this great idea. I want to start my own business. And then when I ask them if they've put any of their own money into it, they're like, well, no, I'm not going to risk my money. If you're not willing to risk your own money, I say this almost in every video, you have no right risking anyone else's. And you got to remember, Mona, That's what you're doing. You're going to Vegas. You are putting down your money on that business idea and you're rolling the dice, keeping in mind that the majority of new businesses do fail. So it is a risky venture. So I would encourage you to only risk money starting a business that you can afford to lose, because chances are you're going to lose it. I'm really just like Debbie Downer today, but it's the truth. My fiduciary right is to tell you the truth. So Mona, how much money do you have? How much do you have in checking and savings, in your 401k, in your retirement plan? And are you willing to put that money in the business? If you're not, stop bothering me, Mona. Go back to your day job. All right. So if you don't have retirement or savings, well, then you move on to think of other avenues to raise money. Is there something you could sell? Mona, does your husband have a bass boat sitting in the driveway? You know that bass boat's not bringing in any money. Might be bringing in some bass. Can you sell that? Will he let you sell that? Is your husband behind you? That's a whole nother video about the spousal support when you want to start a business. Do you have things that you can sell? Can you have a massive yard sale to raise the $2,000 or $3,000 that you think you need? Okay. Next, what about your house? Do you own your home, Mona? Do you have equity in the home that you could get an equity line of credit for? Now, again, I've had a lot of entrepreneurs tell me that they would not risk their home equity. And again, if you're not willing to risk it, don't ask anyone else to risk it either. The nice thing about a home equity line of credit is if you draw on it as you need it, and it is tax deductible. The interest is tax deductible. So a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, I started my first business off the equity in my house. Just go to your bank. Of course, you're going to need good credit to do that. If you're going to do anything really on legitimate credit, and I call it legitimate credit because I'm comparing banks to like credit cards and financial institutions that charge you an arm and a leg. So do you have equity in your home that you could cash out and perhaps set up in a line of credit? Now, the next thing is one that I highly discourage, but I have to mention it because it is an option, and that's what we call the friends and family plan. Do you have friends and family who are willing to risk their money on your idea? And again, Mona, that's what they're doing. They're not letting you borrow the money. They're not investing the money. They are rolling the dice that your idea will be solid to the point where the profits are such that you can pay them back. Now, let me tell you why I'm not a fan of friends and family. Actually, I call it the 3 F's: friends, families, and fools. Because if they loaned you money, chances are they're a fool. And if you take it, yeah, you're a fool too. Because here's why. It goes back to what we talked about a few minutes ago. The majority of small businesses do fail. And quite often they fail because there was a lack of planning or a lack of funding on the behalf of the entrepreneur. So if you go to dad and mom and you convince them to give you $30,000, $40,000 out of their retirement account and you proceed to lose that money, do you think mom and dad are going to be happy with you, Mona? Now, your mom's not going to say anything, chances are, because moms are, they're understanding, she'll be seething underneath, but she won't say anything to your face. Your dad, on the other hand, is not going to be happy with you. If you borrow mom and dad's money and you put it in your business and you lose their money, let me tell you something. His dad is carving the Christmas turkey, Mona. He's pretending that it's your neck. Dads want their money back. So don't ask friends and family to invest unless you are absolutely sure that you can pay them back. And that's the thing. Whether you get the money from friends and family or a bank or a line of credit or from your own home equity line, you have to pay it back even if the business fails. Your indebtedness does not go away just because the business failed. So if you do tap friends and family, please only take their money. Number one, if they can afford to lose it, just like you. Number two, you are almost utterly confident that you're going to be able to pay them back. Now, you can also go to banks if you've got relatively good credit and you've got collateral to put up. You could probably go to a bank and get a loan. You're going to need a business plan, a solid business plan, because the banks, the first thing they're going to know is, how will you pay us back? You've seen the commercials, for the banks where they're the hometown bank. They're friendly. They care about me. I went to the bank and they cared about me and my idea. Well, you know what? If you can't pay them back, that bank will very quickly become someone who's not happy with you. So same thing is true there. If you go to banks and you get loans, you borrow money, make sure you're going to pay them back. So if you do have good credit and some collateral, you might go to a bank or a credit union and set up a business account and perhaps get a business line of credit. And basically a business line of credit is a set amount that you can draw on, and you only pay interest on the amount that you draw down. So that's always been one of my favorite options. Once I was in business and established for probably 10 years, and banks would actually fight over my business, I started using lines of credit. Now, there is what we call the dark credit. That is financial companies, finance companies, credit cards. It's easy credit with high interest. All right. Now, I have known people who started a business with, a stack of credit cards that thick. I knew one guy, he had $100,000 in credit on 10 different credit cards. Well, that's what he used to fund his business. Now, very, very expensive interest, 25 to 30%, but he somehow pulled it off. The business started off well and the profits came in. And the very first thing he did was pay off those credit cards, because they were going to cost him a fortune. So if you start your business using this kind of easy credit, high interest rates, keep in mind, you've got to pay that back. And the longer you take to pay it back, the more it's going to cost you. Finally, Mona, you can look into things like the Small Business Administration, the SBA. Now, the SBA does not make the loan per se. The SBA guarantees the loan with the lender, with the bank. So the process there is, you've got to have a business plan. You present that to the SBA. If they are confident in your business plan, they will go with you to a bank to create a loan package, and they will guarantee the bank payment back. All right. So that is an option if you've got a really solid business and a really solid business plan. And again, good credit never hurts. So there you go. That's basically it. Now, one thing that I have to say, because I get so many people asking about this, is there are no grants for starting a business. I know that butthole with the suit with the question marks on it. He's like, oh, money for business, grant this, grant. There are no grants. There are no grants unless you are like starting a business in what's called a HUD zone, an underdevelopment, basically not a good urban situation. You might get some grants, but by and large, grants to start businesses, they're gone. They went the way of the dinosaurs. You're going to find a dinosaur faster than you would find a small business grant. So, hey, there you go, Mona. I hope that was helpful. Again, congratulations on having the idea. I am a very big fan of bootstrapping. That means, self-funding the business. Even if it takes you longer to get the business up and running, you're still going to do it where you own all of the business and you're growing it in such a way that you're not going to risk losing everything you have. All right. So, Mona, I hope that was helpful. Hey, if you like this video and are interested in more information on small business, you see that subscribe button down there? I want you to slap the crap. I want you to click it, because I do new videos every week. And if you click the bell, see that little bell down there? If you click the bell, every time I upload a video, YouTube will let you know. How freaking cool is that? All right. Hey, if you have questions on anything to do with small business, please drop them in the comments below. I would be happy to answer your question if I can. You can also email me, tim@timknox.com, or go to my website, timknox.com. Weird, it's the same as my name. Really easy to remember. timknox.com. You're going to find all of my websites there. I have small business content. I also do a lot on publishing and various other things, and happy to do whatever I can to help you. So I did that on one breath. That was amazing. Mona, I hope it was helpful. And the rest of you, get out there, come up with a great idea, and make it a good day. Check your couch cushions for money, Mona, or the ashtray in your car, if your car has an ashtray. All right, later.